if you at least hired a real actor instead of, what's this guy do, work in the office?
It started with a bang, and not the kind Sylvester Stallone's audience is used to hearing in a movie theater. No, this wasn't an explosion from Rambo or a punch from Rocky. This was verbal dynamite. In a moment that instantly ricocheted around Hollywood and the internet alike, Stallone named, point blank, 5 actors he hates, not dislikes, not has beef with, not had creative differences. He used the word hate. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. The news, unsurprisingly, spread like wildfire. Social media turned molten, fan forums erupted, paparazzi took up new perches, but the real weight of Stallone's declaration wasn't just in the names themselves. It was in who said it, how it was said, and why it stunned everyone who knows a thing or two about the longtime Hollywood icon. Because for decades, Sylvester Stallone has been many things: action hero, underdog, writer, director, comeback king, physical fitness symbol, even reality TV father figure. But rarely has he been this candid, especially not in public, and definitely not about fellow actors by name. That's what made the moment seismic. This was a man who survived critical drubbings, box office droughts, and studio politics with grit and charm. He'd never gone scorched earth like this before. To understand the shockwaves, you have to understand the man behind the microphone. Sylvester Stallone has always been a bit of a paradox. On one hand, he's the literal embodiment of a brawler. The kind of guy who wrote Rocky in 3.5 days while dead broke and refused to sell the script unless he could star in it himself. That decision changed cinematic history. On the other hand, he's always had a certain diplomatic smoothness about him when it came to talking about his peers. He's offered praise for rivals, expressed regret for past riffs, and built bridges even after very public disagreements. See Arnold Schwarzenegger. So when he dropped 5 names with no flinching, no filters, and no vague euphemisms, it hit differently. Let's rewind to how this bombshell dropped. It happened during a surprisingly candid sit-down interview at a film industry roundtable. The event was supposed to focus on career longevity in Hollywood, the impact of franchise fatigue, and the evolution of masculinity in action films. The host asked a relatively tame question: are there any actors you found it difficult to work with or whose style just clashes with yours? Probably expecting some generic response about different methods or on-set egos. But Stallone leaned in, didn't blink, and said, "There are 5 actors I truly hate," and then he named them. No metaphors, no dodging. Just 5 names, each one a recognizable face. Some, legends in their own right. The air in the room apparently shifted. According to those present, there was a long pause. One of those rare electric moments where everyone realizes they've just heard something they weren't supposed to. Some people laughed nervously, assuming Stallone was kidding. But he wasn't. His expression was stone. He meant every word. And while we won't quote him directly here as requested, let's unpack what's behind each of those 5 names. Because the real story isn't just in who Stallone named, it's in the relationships, the rivalries, and the reputations that made those names land with a boom. First on the list was Richard Gere. Now this one, for longtime fans, wasn't entirely out of the blue. Their decades-old friction has been whispered about in Hollywood circles for years. They were both once cast in The Lords of Flatbush, a 1974 film about Brooklyn teenagers coming of age in the 1950s. But Gere never made it to the final cut. Legend has it, and it's the kind of legend insiders love to swap over drinks, that a physical altercation during rehearsal ended with Stallone demanding Gere be replaced. The story varies depending on who tells it. Some say there was a disagreement over a scene. Others say it involved Gere spilling mustard on Stallone's pants and refusing to apologize. But the result was clear. Gere was gone, and Stallone's feelings evidently never softened. When he named Gere, it wasn't with a sense of old wounds healed. It was with the tone of someone who never quite forgave or forgot. Next came Bruce Willis. This one cut deep for action movie fans. After all, Stallone and Willis co-starred in The Expendables, that testosterone-fueled ensemble film that brought together practically every aging action hero in existence. At first glance, it seemed like a dream team, but friction simmered behind the scenes. During negotiations for The Expendables 3, reports surfaced that Willis demanded a $4 million payday for just 4 days of work, an ask that Stallone apparently saw as greedy. The fallout was very public. Stallone posted in now infamous fashion a message online calling someone greedy and lazy, a sure formula for career failure. He didn't name names then, but everyone knew who it was aimed at. Now, years later, Stallone finally confirmed what fans suspected. He didn't just have a business disagreement with Willis, he hated working with him. The third name shocked everyone: Steven Seagal. The martial arts icon has long been a controversial figure in Hollywood. While Seagal's early films like Above the Law and Under Siege carved him a place in the action genre, his reputation as difficult and arrogant followed him like a shadow. Stallone and Seagal never worked together on film, which made the inclusion more curious. But that's exactly what Stallone hinted at, that he never worked with Seagal because he never wanted to. Multiple people over the years tried to get them together, especially during the casting of The Expendables. But Stallone always refused. Why? Because according to him, Seagal's ego was unbearable, and his disrespect towards stunt teams and collaborators crossed lines. Again, this wasn't new gossip, but Stallone putting it out there, plain and unvarnished, gave the rumors new life. Then came Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now this was complicated. Van Damme and Stallone actually did work together. Van Damme played the villain in The Expendables 2, and on screen the chemistry was electric. Two aging legends squaring off in a brutal final fight. But according to multiple sources, off-screen tensions flared almost from day one. Van Damme reportedly arrived late, questioned direction, and clashed over creative decisions. Stallone, a director and producer on the project, was not amused. What's worse, he apparently extended the olive branch more than once, trying to patch things up and give Van Damme space to shine. But the goodwill wasn't reciprocated. Years later, Van Damme would make public comments implying he felt underused in the film, something Stallone clearly didn't appreciate. When he named Van Damme, there was no sense of friendly rivalry. It was a clear, cold grudge. And finally, the fifth name, the one that truly stunned the room, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's right. The man once seen as Stallone's greatest rival and closest friend in later years. The two had what many called the most entertaining rivalry in 1980s Hollywood. Stallone had Rambo, Arnold had Commando, Stallone had Rocky, Arnold had the Terminator. They took jabs at each other in interviews, planted stories in gossip columns, and competed for the biggest guns, biggest explosions, and biggest box office numbers. But that animosity seemed to dissolve in the 2000s. They began appearing together at events, poked fun at each other in movies, and even co-starred in Escape Plan. Fans assumed they'd buried the hatchet. Which is why Stallone naming Schwarzenegger among the 5 he hates caused such a collective jaw drop. The details remain fuzzy. Stallone didn't elaborate much beyond the name, but insiders immediately started speculating. Was it business related? Did something sour in recent years? Did it involve politics after all? Arnold served as governor of California, and Stallone's never been shy about his own strong opinions. Or was it personal? A final betrayal that crossed a line after years of complicated friendship. Whatever the reason, the mention of Schwarzenegger turned the whole moment from shocking to iconic. Because when you name your former greatest rival turned supposed friend among your top 5 enemies, people take notice. The aftermath, though we're not covering it directly, bubbled just beneath the surface. Industry insiders were left whispering in studios and agents' offices. Directors quietly reevaluated their casting lists. Younger actors, many of whom grew up idolizing Stallone, were suddenly looking at the old guard with a new lens. Was this a sign of changing times? A generational shift? Or just one man finally unburdening himself after years of carefully crafted public relations? More than anything, Stallone's list set a tone. It was raw, unfiltered, and somehow human. For decades, Hollywood has fed the world curated images of camaraderie and mutual respect, especially among its most bankable stars. But beneath the red carpets and magazine spreads, there are bruises, real grudges, real hurt, real rivalries. And in that moment, Stallone tore the curtain down. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Stallone naming 5 actors he hates? Surprised or expected? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.